How we doing? So, this video I want to talk about the idea of obtaining mastery in some subject. And the reason I believe this is so important is just because of the sort of deep fulfillment that you get within yourself while you're on the journey to obtaining mastery. And the reason I kind of come upon this topic is things like Kung Fu Panda. You always see it in these sort of Asian folklore and stuff like Southeast Asia, where you've got like the samurai and stuff and the way of the warriors. I think there's a guy called Miyamoto Musashi, who was he was a Ronin, which is I think it's like a two-sword samurai in Japan in like the 1500s or something like that. I don't know the exact details. And he wrote just before he was like a philosopher as well. He was like a warrior philosopher who obtained mastery and became like the most feared swordsman in all of Japan and stuff, because all he did was just focus on becoming better with his swordsmanship constantly, day after day. He used to just go around, practice with skills all day long, every single day. And then he wrote down his this book. I think it's his 21 Principles of Life, which he called Dokuro or something like that. And I don't know, I've always found a certain affinity with these stories as well. And Andrew Tate actually wrote an ebook that maybe not a lot of people will have heard about, called Tales of Wudan. I actually purchased it probably about a month ago or something, and read it. It's like 64 pages, but it's very easy reading, where it's just got stories of, it's obviously fictional, but it was my 5,000 years upon Wudan Mountain, when he spent years learning one lesson or something like that. And it just kind of blows up, obviously, the amount of focus and dedication it takes to a task to attain mastery. And mastery is almost the way I feel that describes it best. Is, you've probably heard the saying that if you learn how to touch a butterfly in just the right way, with just the right amount of force in the right place, you can change the world. And that's what feels so beautiful about it. It's almost like when you're doing a certain activity. For me, it's with rugby. That's what I want to obtain mastery in, and it's about knowing a subject fully inside and out and becoming so competent in it that it becomes second nature. And now I've realised that the times maybe lockdown was good for me, and also the first season that I played with the current club that I play for now, those were times where I focused fully on mastering my skill set. I spent the whole of lockdown just running and getting fit. And then when it came to my first season, I would literally spend so many, probably at least half an hour, maybe an hour a week on just the one skill of catching high balls. And I realised that that's what led to me having such a successful season that year. I won Young Player of the Year in my team, and I also got a few Team of the Week nominations and Player of the Match, etc, etc. And it was quite eye-opening to realise that if I just dedicate my mind to the idea of becoming the greatest rugby player ever, that it is possible. When I just dedicate my mind to rugby, I can attain mastery in that subject. And the beauty of it's going to take so many years, and because I find it so enjoyable, I can literally have the most enjoyable life ever, and not even have to go out and party and stuff, and not have to go and do what normal people consider enjoyment. I find so much enjoyment in doing the task and attaining mastery in rugby. After I wanted to make this video is about how exactly you're supposed to go about obtaining mastery. And the way that I'd done it in the past for those 2 periods of time is basically just constantly thinking about what it is I want to get better at. And that's what's so important, is making sure you have times in your day where you can literally sit without distractions and literally just think about ways to improve on what you're doing. For me, I'm going to go right now into some details of what I can do for rugby. I've actually got a big list on my wall there, but things I can do to obtain mastery in my field. I'll start even by just the athletic aspect of rugby. So what I can do is, obviously, I can train extra, I can eat the right foods. I can invest in learning about eating the right foods. I can think about how I'm cooking my foods to improve it, when I'm eating, how much I'm eating, how often I go to the gym, what I do in the gym, how I'm getting to the gym, how I'm stretching, recovering, everything, like research and recovery methods. There's so much things that I could be doing with my time that it's actually beautiful to think that even every day can be something different. And then if you go into the rugby side of things, it's all the skills that I can be practicing in and around training sessions. So I can go out before training sessions and practice my passing, my high balls, my catching, my sidestep. I could be doing extra mobility as well to warm up, focusing on every single small skill in terms of how I jump, how I catch a ball, how I pass a ball, like thinking about the ways that my wrist rotates when I pass, from what angle do I engage my core, do I lean forward. There's so many small nuances that I've been playing rugby since I was like 8 years old or something. I'm 21 now. That over the years and working with various different coaches, I remember there was one coach I worked with, Rob Moffat. I don't know if you've heard of him. He used to coach Edinburgh and stuff. I worked with him towards the end of one of the lockdowns when the restrictions were easing. We would just go out and just do like one-on-one sessions, like just the small nuances that he had about how to carry ball most effectively, and just the body angle and the amount of force you can produce in that angle, and aiming for a certain part of the body on the shoulder and aiming for that with full force and late footwork. And there's so much detail, and that's so interesting to me because there's so much ways in which you can tweak what you're doing to make it perfect. And you can, even if you fail, then you know that doesn't work and you can try another thing. And it's just endless, like, working on something, and there's nothing more enjoyable than that as a man. It's just to be continuously working on a project. Like, I've always found that as well when I grew up, like whenever there's like a big garden project or something that my parents wanted to do, or me and my dad built like a big cabinet in the garage and stuff when I was younger. That stuff is just so much fun. Just spending all day like working on something, crafting something. And even when I'm at home, I brought a rugby ball deliberately in the house just so I'm constantly feeling a rugby ball and how it feels in my hand, and practicing my grip and how I rotate the ball, how I can catch it, practice handoffs. There's just so much detail that you can go into, and that's why I believe that one of the key components to living the best life you can as a man is to find a subject or an area on which you can attain mastery. And even I've noticed that when things aren't going well, I still have this deep enjoyment about it because I'm figuring things out constantly. Even when in other periods of life or in other people's life, they might think that they're depressed. In those moments, I'm actually enjoying the fact that things aren't going well because I know that I'm building on something. I know that I'm working on it. It's just a mindset that's just, I can't describe the beauty more than I have today. Then it's just so, everything feels so tangible. Life feels like it's at your doorstep. It feels like you are attacking life, you're living. It doesn't feel like life's happening to you. It feels like you are happening to life. You have arrived at life and you're working on something and dedicating your whole soul to it, and it's just so fulfilling. Obtaining mastery. It's beautiful. It's things they write movies about. They make movies about attaining mastery. It's like all these boxing movies. I just watched Creed 3 yesterday. Great movie if you haven't seen it. And you get things like Kung Fu Panda. Some like stories about that, of just someone just relentlessly working to master their craft and become great. I just want to do that in real life. For me, I can't actually imagine a better way to live. I've gone back and forth with different mindsets and different ways to live, and I've come back to my original one of just obtaining mastery in rugby, and I've realised that is who I am, and that's the most important thing to me in my life. There's so many things I would sacrifice for rugby, and there's so many things I already have. sacrificed. It's a beautiful way to live. I think if there's one lesson I want to leave you with in this video, is just the idea that if you've got one thing that you just love doing, try and find a way of just becoming obsessed with it. Just try and obtain mastery within that, and your life will be so much fun. Fall in love with something. I'll see you in the next video.